Thank you for understanding. Okay, now we're live.
The sky is not falling, sweetheart.
Okay, thank you.
It happens. We all do have these challenges. So
Okay.
remember, we say we are stronger when we overcome challenges.
Yes.
Hey, we are finally back. Thank you so much for all the people who have given us their patience and have been waiting to get us back live. We are now back, and I can hear Francisca. The sky is not falling, my friend. Chill, calm down. These things happen.
All right, thank you.
So today I will be presenting my friend Francisca Epale on this 11th episode of My Voice, Your Voice. Those who have been following My Voice, Your Voice will agree with me that Francisca should be given the badge of top fan. And today we have decided to feature Francisca because she has a very, very amazing story. Francisca is a Cameroonian by birth, and she's a Jamaican by heritage and a Canadian by choice. She is a distinguished Toastmaster speaker, so you can already start expecting what to hear from her. She is a teacher. She lives in Toronto. She's been teaching English as a second language, and she's a certified interpreter. Bonjour, mon ami.
Bonjour, madame.
Comment tu vas?
Oh, ça va très bien, et vous?
Je suis fière que tu as accepté d'être avec moi aujourd'hui.
Ok.
Soyez la bienvenue.
Merci beaucoup.
I'm forgetting my French. I've been speaking a lot of English. So I'm glad that you are here today, and we will just go straight. We are sorry that we had some hitches, but life happens. So Francisca, how are you doing? How are you doing? What are you doing during this crisis to keep your body, mind, and soul together?
Oh, what I'm doing during this crisis, it is so sad that we have the pandemic. We had the Spanish flu in 1918, and it lasted for 2 years, and over 50 million people died. I'm very sorry, but at the same time, this pandemic has given me a time to think, a time to reflect, a time to slow down. I do follow the social distancing. I meditate a lot. I exercise a lot. And I try to read and I try to meditate. By meditating, my blood pressure has gone down. So it's a time to spend more time with the family because we're all busy and rushing. But this is a time that it has made me slow down a bit.
Thank you so much. I'm glad. That is what the pandemic has done to all of us. It has given us a period to slow down, think about life, think about ourselves, think about family, meditate, be there for each other. I remember talking to my friend Sadika KB the other day, and she was lamenting and asking me, Renee, why is it that we always wait for tragedy to strike before we start loving one another? Why can't we continue loving one another even when there's no tragedy? I think that is food for thought for us. So I would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Francisca Epale. I have lived on 4 continents. I've lived in Cameroon, Africa, where I was born. I have lived in Europe, where I spent 2 years in elementary school, 1 year in Oxford and 1 year in London when my parents were studying there. I have lived in Asia, in China, where I taught English, and I've lived in North America, in the United States and Canada. I have a bachelor's degree in French with a minor in German from Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, and a Master of Arts in teaching French as a foreign language. And I have some certificates to teach ESL, English as a second language. I am also an author of 3 books. The first book is called The Naked Educator, How to Survive in the Middle Kingdom. The second book is The Naked Educator, Secrets to Surviving in China as an Expatriate, second edition. And the third book is 365 Empowering Stories. I'm a co-author, and my book chat My book chapter is my journey. Um, hold on just a minute. My journey, the uh, seven amazing steps that shrunk my uterine fibroids. And
Oh,
I'm now writing a fourth book. During the pandemic, I'm writing a fourth book. It's called Between Two Tongues. The
oh,
glamour,
wow.
the glamour, mysteries, and rewards of language interpretation.
Oh, I can't wait to read that book, Francisca. From when I went from talking to you, I see that you have a lot of experience. You have gone through a lot.
Yes.
And I admire you and admire your courage, because writing 3 books and on the fourth, I dove my heart to you, girl, because writing is one of the skills that I'm so bad at doing. So if I could just maybe rub myself a little bit on you and get that part, that aspect of you, that will help me in life. So Maggie Jane is here and she says, I'm here with you ladies. Thank you, Maggie Jane, for staying with us, for bearing with us. Rodney Samaambe says, hello, Francisca. Can't wait to hear what you have to tell us today. Thank you so much. We have so much in stock for you. So Francisca, what are you passionate about? And what led you to this passion of yours?
I am passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about education. Nelson Mandela said, education is the weapon that will change the world. No, is that the world? No, hold on. Education is a weapon we can use to change the world. I'm passionate about helping my clients. I'm an accredited community French interpreter, and I go in all kinds of settings. I go in the courts, social services, police officers, private homes, union meetings. I go to all kinds of settings. I've even been invited to an international conference. So when I help my clients, I even work with Immigration and Refugee Board, and I interpret using Pidgin English as well. So when I have a client who has succeeded and won the case, sometimes they hug me and they thank me so much. So that's what I am passionate about, helping people. Zig Ziglar, a motivational speaker, said, if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want.
Of course, my friend. That's why you are my friend. I call myself this day a women's empowerment crusader.
Okay.
I'm so passionate about helping people, especially women. Okay. Why? Because I am a woman and have gone through all the challenges that women have gone through. And I know that people need somebody to hold their hand along the way. So I have devoted my life to hold the hands of women along the way to pull them up. So I am glad that you are also doing this with us. So like I always say on this show, My Voice, Your Voice is a platform for authentic conversation. Platform where women come and share their stories, share the challenges that they have gone through in life, what they have learned from the challenges, and what they can teach other people who are in the same place. So I know you have a lot of stories. Yes. So yes, I give you the liberty to choose which of the stories you want to share with our audience today.
Okay. What stories? Referring to what, for example?
It depends on you. It may be your career stories, your personal life stories, any stories that tell the story of Francisca. Because when people see you now sitting and listing all the academic achievements and all the things that you have done in life, people think that it just came on a platter of gold. But it took quite some challenges. It took quite some disrupting of limiting beliefs for you to get to where you are. So our objective to be on this platform is to make people know that if we could go through all these challenges in life and we still have a big smile on our face and we can sit and talk and do all the things that we are doing, it means that every other person can do it.
Okay.
So that is why we share our stories.
All right. I'll tell you my journey with Toastmasters. For those of you who are not aware of Toastmasters International, it's an international association where people go to improve on their communication, their leadership, and presentation skills. When I was in elementary school, I used to stutter. I used to stammer. I'll say, but, but. Words will not come out. I had friends who used to laugh at me. Then when I went to post-secondary education, when I went to university in the United States, I decided to seek the help of a speech therapist. I went through 6 sessions, and she said, Francisca, your stuttering is very mild. It's not very noticeable. So if I were you, I would ignore it. But she spoke to my academic advisor and asked him that he should encourage me to take classes where I have to make a presentation in front of the classroom. So I made many presentations and I chose to become a teacher so that I will improve on my stuttering. So when I left Canada, I had a crisis and I had to move to Canada. So when I was looking for a job, they said, you don't have any Canadian experience. So I said, what do you mean by Canadian experience? They said, well, you're not used to the Canadian way of life. So what I did, I joined Toastmasters and I got my first certificate in 8 months. They called it the Competent Toastmasters, but now they call it the Competent Communicator. So after Toastmasters, I moved to Toronto and I tried to find a Toastmasters club that would suit my needs. I couldn't find one. And then in 2010, I had to go teach English in a French speaking college. The director saw that I put Toastmasters on my resume and he asked me to start a Toastmasters club. I ignored him because I was saying that this is challenging. Then in one day, he asked me 3 times, so I knew he was serious. So I started a Toastmasters club. It wasn't easy. For you to teach French-speaking students how to present in English, it was not easy. But I successfully did it, and I had one student who ended with the competent communicator. So after that, I continued Toastmasters. I went to China, I came back, and I continued. I had some challenges, but I was determined to get to the top. So I got to the top and I got my distinguished Toastmasters. And then after that, I decided to become a speaking coach because they told me that they really enjoy my stories. So I became a world-class speaking coach under Craig Valentine, who was 1999 World Championship of Toastmasters. So now I can teach others how to become better speakers.
That is so inspiring because having used something that people might have considered a disability
Yes.
to grow out of it and then use it as a profession. That is so amazing, because they are people who start at the beginning and they just shrink away because they even fear to speak in the public because they don't want people to laugh at them. Overcoming that challenge, for me, it's a really big achievement which we need to celebrate. So one of the things we talked about, when I looked at your book, you talked about your story, how you shrunk your fibroid in 7 steps. And I was like, she's an English language teacher, for crying out loud. Is she a medical doctor? Could you just give us a brief resume? Because I know, especially with our African women, this fibroid issue is always a very big challenge.
Yes. I'm not a medical doctor, so I have a disclaimer which I'm going to read. I am not a health practitioner. I do not cure uterine fibroids. The information contained in this chapter is based on my personal journey and is not intended to provide medical advice. The 7 steps mentioned may not work for you. it is advisable to first seek advice from a medical doctor. My story is just for general information and inspiration. So these are the 7 steps. The first one is acupuncture. I lived in China, so I had access to acupuncture. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second one is detoxification. You should cleanse your body. There are different cleanses. Just as when you own a car, you have to service the car every three
Mm-hmm.
months or every 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You should service your body every 3 months by detoxing it. You do cleanses like a liver cleanse, a kidney cleanse, deep colon cleanse, mucus cleanse. Those are cleanses. And the third one is exercise. It's Kegel exercises, aerobics, yoga, and Pilates. And the fourth one is massage therapy. And the fifth one is a specialized diet. I'm very, I'm very particular on what I eat. My face looks very young, but I'm not as young as I look. Some people give me half my age.
I
These are,
know.
this is what I eat. It's called G bombs. G stands for greens, B for beans, O for onions, M for mushrooms, B for berries, and S for seeds. G bombs. I avoid wheat and dairy and sweets, except fruits. Then, number 6 is traditional Chinese medicine. Remember, I was in China when I had access to this. And then the seventh one is reciting positive affirmations. Again, I'm not a medical practitioner. I just read the medical disclaimer. So this is what I did, and I shrunk my fibroids. They wanted me to have a hysterectomy, and I refused. As a matter of fact, when I was in China, I had a medical condition, and I worked with 4 medical doctors, an acupuncturist, a traditional Chinese doctor, OBGYN, and a family doctor. And they were insisting I have a hysterectomy. So I asked one of the doctors, I said, Dr. Wong, I'm going to ask you a direct question. If I don't have this hysterectomy, will I die? He said, no. Then I'll take my chances. I won't do it. So now I don't have the fibroids.
Wow. Wow. That's such an amazing story. That's such an amazing story. I know. So I always ask my guests, I like to find out what is the most challenging thing that you have ever had to face in your life, and how did you navigate through this challenge?
Hmm. I'd already mentioned that about how when I started a club, so I have to think of something else. A challenging thing was when I went to China to teach English and I couldn't speak the language. The culture was totally different from what I was used to. As a matter of fact, if a teacher goes to teach in China and you finish 1 year, they are so grateful because some teachers go after 1 week, they come back, or 2 weeks, 1 month, they can't stand the place. So going to a country where you don't know anything about the culture or the language was very challenging. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share one thing with you. When we went to the police station to go obtain our permanent resident card, the police said, according to Chinese law, if you are a foreigner and you have an argument with a Chinese, even if you, the foreigner, you are right, they would not take your stand. They will only look at the side of the Chinese person. It's not fair, but that's their culture. That's their policy. So
Wow, what a culture, what a policy.
yes, so some of them don't agree with them, and there's some teachers who have gone to China and they have been killed and they have been thrown in jail because they didn't follow their policy. You may not agree with it, but that's their country. Another thing which they do, which I found very interesting, if you are a foreigner, they can tell you anytime to leave your apartment. One day at around 9:30 p.m., I heard a knock on my door. I wasn't expecting anybody, so I peeped and I went to the door. I saw a police officer and a civilian. I was wondering what happened. So I cracked open the door. I said, Ni hao. Ni hao means hello. How can I help you? So they said, "Good evening, madam." I said, "Good evening. We want to come and take pictures of your house because the owner wants to sell his house in 48 hours for big, big money." I burst out laughing. And they looked at each other. I said, "Bring a letter written in English." So next day, I went to work and they gave me a letter in English. I asked my supervisor, "Is this what they do in China?" He said, "Yes, this is Chinese custom. Just do as they say." So I called the landlord. I said, "Yes, I will move, but I'll give you my own conditions because I signed a 1-year lease. You have to help me find a taxi who will take me there, because if I have to find my own taxi, he will take me all around the city because I don't know the place. You have to find a housing agent who can speak English, and I can only do it on my days off." So with that, they accepted and I moved. I, I spoke to one friend. She said they gave her 3 weeks to move. I said they gave me 48 hours. So you have to adjust. You may not like it, but you have to go with the flow. So those were some of the challenges I had. But I also had success stories in China. But those are some of the challenges I faced.
Can you tell us some of your success stories? We want to hear success stories also.
Okay. Some of the success stories was that I was able to teach French in China. I had a friend, an African friend, who was in her last year in medical school. She was preparing for her final exams and she was tutoring a Chinese boy French. So she asked me if I could take over because she's going to graduate and she's so busy. So I never dreamed that I would be able to teach French in China because I went there to teach English. So I was able to teach French and make additional money. So that's a success story. One of
Oh,
my success stories.
thank you so much. I want to acknowledge the people who are following us. You have, oh, Maggie Jen says, wow, wow. Francisca is blowing me away. I love how you use your skills. We are all different with similarities. Quinta Mancho says, awesome. That you are just so awesome. Maggie says, such an accomplishment. How did you manage to use your time so efficiently?
Thank you.
Then the Reverend Manabose is watching from the UK. He says, blessed be God, our patience has paid off.
Yes.
And everybody is just like, wow. Mufo Evelyn is watching from Cameroon and she says, I am also with you ladies. Thank you for being there for us.
Thank you.
I am just listening to Francisca's story with some awe because sometimes they say you have to listen to people's stories before you know where they are coming from and why they behave in the way they behave. So my next question to you, my friend, is, does this, what you have gone through, does it relate in any way to you? Because like you said, you are a translator, you listen to all kinds of things. So to the good stories and to the bad stories. How has this affected your life? Because sometimes you may be called in to interpret in a criminal situation.
Yes.
Yes. How has this affected you in your life?
Well, when I went to China and I came back, my whole perspective of life changed. People take things for granted. For example, in Canada here, some people, if you have to go from the east side to the west side, they say it is far. I said it's not far. They say it is far. I said, let me tell you something. I left Toronto. I was on the plane on Cathay Pacific from Toronto to Hong Kong, a direct flight, 13 hours. That's far. So just to drive 1 hour is not far. My perspective has totally changed. What people complain and grumble about, I don't. I said, I have seen worse. Like some people complain, oh, this pandemic, blah, 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 blah. I said, at least you are alive, right? Some people don't have food. Some people don't have shelter. Some people have lost everything, but at least you have food and shelter. The government is giving you a little money. Some countries don't have that luxury of the government helping them with an allowance. So I look at life in a totally different perspective since I came back from China, and I'm able to help my clients. I'm able to empathize. As a matter of fact, when I went to China, I became a client and I had to seek a Mandarin interpreter. So I've been on both sides of the fence, an interpreter and a client. So I know how the client feels when they're trying to interpret to them.
Thank you very much. And one thing I know about interpreters, they are supposed to be very trustworthy persons.
Yes.
So the clients can trust you and trust that what he or she is saying to you is what you are relating to the authority that is listening to you. So for me, that's a plus. That's to show that you are a trustworthy person.
Yes.
So I know you said you are a Jamaican by, is it heritage?
Heritage, yes.
That's new to me. Could you?
I
What
will
do you mean?
elaborate. No
Okay.
problem. My late father was Dr. Simon Joseph Epale, a born Cameroonian. My late mother was Tessa Eunice Epale. She came from Jamaica. They met in England.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I am kind of bicultural.
Good.
So somebody
Good.
asked me, I'm bicultural. Is it the top half or the bottom half or the left or the right? I said, whichever way you take it.
I know. So Maggie Jane says, yes, ma'am, the pandemic will reveal who you are. And Quinta Mentor says, I am just blown away. I am equally blown away, Quinta, because yours truly, one of the things which I, as a host of this show, is benefiting is I get to hear such amazing stories. And I start asking myself, wow. If I didn't talk to this person, I wouldn't know that this is what this person has been going through. So I think it is just a privilege for us to have this opportunity to listen to people tell us their stories. And I've been having very amazing women on this. I'm thinking of bringing in a man, and the first person I'm thinking of contacting is the Reverend Dr. Juana Abose. I know he is listening and he is laughing. Reverend Doctor, happy birthday. I saw you, you just turned 50 and you look like a boy of 25 years old. Happy birthday. Enjoy your day. And you happen to be in my same birth month. Tomorrow is going to be my birthday. Yay! I can't wait to celebrate my birthday and thank God for making me see another day. Another year to again. So I like to ask people, what are you most proud of as a person?
You asked me.
What are you most proud of
as a person? That's a good question. Okay, I could say what I am the most proud of is being an author 3 times. Because statistics says that 81% of people have a book inside them and only less than 1% are published authors.
You can say that again, my friend. I have like 100 books in my mind. You have a right to be proud of that, my friend.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So some of the things which I thank you, Quinta Mancho. Happy birthday, Renee. Anita, thank you so much. I need all those blessings. I need all those wishes. Thank you so much. So one of the things I like to find out is in your life, there's something we call never again moments.
Okay.
Things that happen to you that at a later age, you reflect on them and you tell yourself, never again will I allow somebody to dissuade me or to determine the course of my life. Okay. I am going to share one of my never again moments.
Okay.
So that you can understand the concept of never again moments.
Okay.
When I started, I'm a fellow of the Certified Chartered Accountants with the UK. When I started this course in Cameroon, I was the only person from the Northwest province of Cameroon. A majority of the students were in the Southwest. You are a Cameroonian, I understand what I'm saying. They were in Buea. Yes. Because they had the university, they had a group, they could study as a group. And I was the only person in Bamenda, then married, having my children, working and studying. And so when I went down for my first exam, I had to take permission from my job. I went down 1 week earlier to stay with my cousins who were in Buea, to be able to have access to the student community in Buea, to interact with them so I could learn from them. So I went down, coming from the Northwest, and being not older in the sense, but being a mom, because there were people there who were older than me, but they were still students because I happened to have gotten married very young. So we went on the day of the exam. That is one never again moment, which when I think of, I say never again. So on the day of the exam proper, we went to the center, and we were just sitting outside and waiting for the exam to start. Then I looked at one guy who was sitting in a nice car. Oh my God. Francisca, he had all the books of ACCA. I mean, the official text, the workbook, the key facts, everything original stuck on one chair, and he was just browsing. And I looked at it and I said, oh my gosh, if people are reading this kind of books, then I am reading photocopy of these books. Am I going to even compete? So I started feeling negative. Then one of my classmates, he came and saw me. I feel like calling the name, but I don't want to call the name. He saw me, I looked at me and said, Madam Sama, where are you coming from? I said, I was coming from Bamenda. He said, are you coming to write? I say, yes. Have you been studying? I say, yes. Do you have a group up there? I say, yes. He said, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. You can never pass. Now we are here in Buea, in a team, studying, having all the benefits, and it's difficult to pass. And you think you just come from Bamenda and pass? Oh my gosh, that killed me. So I had 2 papers to write. I went into that exam. I wrote the first paper. Then I went into the second paper. I started writing. I wrote to a certain level, and on the papers, when you write and finish, if you think you are not confident about what you have written, you have a right to choose or to write there, don't mark my paper. Francisca, you will not believe I went and chose that option, because I went after having gone through the paper. So I went and ticked the area that they shouldn't mark my paper. So I left very disgruntled, very unhappy. And I went up to Bamenda. You know what? When results came, the paper that I left without checking the box, I had 45 on 100. Meaning that if I was not as discouraged as I felt, if I had put in a little bit of effort, I would have passed. And then the other paper had just not marked. When I saw my results, I wept. And I took a vow on that day. I said, this particular person who told me that I cannot, I am going to do it. And I said, never again in my life will I allow somebody to dissuade me from what I believe I can do. And that is how I sailed through the exam until I became a qualified accountant. And let me tell you, the day I qualified, there was a big meeting in the Le Méridien in Douala. I purposely went for that meeting because I wanted to meet this guy who had predicted that I would never succeed. And when I went there, they were introducing themselves, and I stood up and I said, pam, 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 this is me, and I'm an affiliate. And it was, wow, you finally made it. I said I made it. So from then, I discovered that never listen to the negative voices. So I tell this story to bring you into context of what we call a never again moment. So what are some of your never again moments?
All right. We're talking about your grades. Ironically, when I was in elementary school, I never forgot, I was 10 years old. I was very bright in elementary school. I said I can never get a 0 in arithmetic. Ironically, the next day I got 0 out of 3. So the whole class laughed at me. And during break time, the teacher called me aside and said, Francisca, sit down. I remember yesterday you said you can never have a 0 in arithmetic and you have a 0. Everybody's laughing at you. In life, never say never, because you can never predict the future. So I have learned never to say never, because I don't want history to repeat itself. So I plead the Fifth Amendment. I try to avoid that. I will never do this, because you never know tomorrow. I never knew I would end up in China teaching English. So I've learned, I don't use the word, I can never say that. I can never do that. So I just avoid that word.
Okay. So Quinta Mancho says, me too, I have 100 books in my head. I need to talk to you, Francisca.
No problem.
So maybe you need to talk to some of us and encourage us and tell us what we can do to be able to take out these books from our head so that other people can have access to reading reading the books that we have in our head.
Sure.
I don't know if you can say something in that light.
Oh, yes, I took programs. There are programs out there where you have a book coach and they will guide you. There are videos you watch. Yeah. For me, it came very easy because everyone has their gifts. I used to teach ESL and French, so the ideas flowed very easily. But you need a book coach and accountability partner who will push you. And, they teach you different ways of writing a book. Some people speak their book. They speak it out and have somebody transcribe it. Some people write it by hand, and then after that, they type it. And they tell you how to come up with a table of contents. For example, when you're writing a book, your title can change. So it can come with this title. By the time you finish the book, you have changed it 5 times. It happens. It's part of the writing process. And when you're writing a book, you have to set a deadline that every day I'm going to write 1 chapter. And wake up early. Belong to the 5 a.m. club, where you can get up early and write for 1 hour or 30 minutes, but you have to set time for it.
Thank you so much. I think maybe you should be thinking about including this in your portfolio of services that you offer to your client, to your clients, because that is one area in which a lot of people, including myself, I don't like to write. That is what I've been telling myself. That is the lie I've been telling myself. But I have discovered that when I sit down to write, I have something to write about. But the first thing about me is just sitting down to write.
Okay.
So that for me, just let me say, to be very honest, is just being lazy. It's just being lazy, because you don't even need to know all the grammar in this world to be able to write, because they are editors.
They're editors, even
Yes.
English teachers. Excuse
Yes.
me. They said even if you're an English teacher, you need an editor to edit your work.
Yes.
They edit, and you can also pay somebody to write your book. They call them ghost writers. All these celebrities and top-ranking people, they don't write their books, but they won't tell you. They hire ghost writers.
I know.
Yes.
I know. I read about it somewhere. Okay. I know a lot of prominent people who have written thousands and hundreds of books, and they don't write it themselves. Yes. They hire people to write books for themselves, for them. So, my dear Quinta Mancho, we have to work on writing the books that are in our mind. So if you have one last word for our audience, what will you say to them?
One last word for our audience. Since many of you want to write a book, many of you are pregnant with your book inside you, you should get it out. Because there are 3 I's in writing a book. When you write a book, you are creating impact, influence, and income. because you don't know how writing a book can change somebody's life. I've heard of people who have read a book who were dying, and when they read a book, they didn't die after all. They gained confidence. So if you want to write a book, there are several book publishers out there. There are ways to write a book. You can contact me, and I can give you some places where you can where they can help you write and publish your book.
Okay. So thank you. Maggie Jane says, Francisca Epale's whole life is an inspiration. Thank you for showing us that whatever we want can be done.
Thank you.
So Quinta Mancho says, thank you for that tip. And that she's going to contact you.
You're welcome.
Marwin is watching from Cameroon, and she says, I like your courage.
Thank you.
Thank you for all of you who have been watching. I know sometimes when we are on the air, people may be busy, but I do crave your indulgence. Please share the video so that people can listen, because there are people who just magnify their disability. And I love to listen to one of my friends who normally tells me people don't have a disability. They are just differently abled. They are not, it's not a disability, they are just differently abled. So Francisca had a disability that everybody thought was a disability, but she used that disability to become who she is today. From a stutterer to a teacher, and to a Toastmaster distinguished personality, you can attest to the fact that it is your will to succeed that drives you. It is not what you have. It is what you want and what you are ready to sacrifice that matters in life. So like I always say on this show, your life can be a great story, but it won't define you. I wrote this statement on one of my posts, and somebody commented on it and said, but the life has defined you. No, it defines you when you accept the challenges that the life has given you and you surrender. But when you use those challenges as stepping stones, it has not defined you. You define your life, not the challenges or the abilities or the disabilities that you have. And I think Francisca is one example. Thank you, Francisca, first of all, for being a top fan. I can see your love of people. Immediately you discovered this platform, you got in contact with me, you got in contact with me on phone, you got in contact with me on Messenger, you were always on this platform. And those who are also like you, they know. You remember last week, Maggie was one of the persons who started saying, Francisca has been on this on this show for long. We need to hear her story. Just like, and then this opening came out and I said, okay, who else can I offer the chance to apart from Francisca? So thank you very much, my friend. Francisca is here to help. Some people are saying they want to contact you. We would like to read the book which you are writing now, because it has a very captivating title already. But just like you said, sometimes by the end of the writing, the title of the book may change. Yes. That I know, because I've written a couple of research theses, and you start with one idea. As you read and research and go along, you discover that, oh no, this could be better put in this way. So we are so glad on this show. And like I said, tomorrow is my birthday. So it's happy birthday to me in advance. I am so happy. I always like celebrating my birthday, because for me, it's a day to tell God, thank you. So I want to tell you, thank you for all you have done. So again, my friends, it has been my voice, your voice. And I want to thank all of you who stayed put, irrespective of the technical hitches which we had at the beginning. Francisca was almost fretting, and I said, calm down, my friend. The sky is not falling. It happens. Thank you, my friend. and continue to be our regular fan. Talk to people, encourage people to watch the show. Like I said, our intention is to make people listen to you. A stutterer who listen to you today will know that he or she can walk through that disability. So that is why we are here on this platform. Thank you, Mami Winnie. Thank you, Maggie Jane. Thank you, Dr. Quinta Mancho. One of my friends told me that all your friends are doctor. You should be thinking of getting a doctorate degree. And I'm like, okay. They have the doctors and I'm their friend. I will just glean from their PhD. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And thank you very much for having me. My website is www.franciscaepale.com. And you can also connect with me on Facebook or LinkedIn as well.
Okay, so I am typing
www.franciscaepale.com.
Francisca. Okay, you can check the website on the comment. You can also check my website to see the other things that I do. Thank you so very much. And again, goodbye and see you next week.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, Anita. Thank you, everyone, for listening.